Hello and welcome back. All right, so let me ask you all a question. How many of you right now could honestly use some more saleable listings right now by a raise of hands? Right? I think everybody watching saying the same thing. We all want to dominate the listing side of the business. Well, let me ask you a question. Are you aware of what is the fastest source of business opportunities? How many of you are aware of that? Well, some of you, as I say that to you, might be thinking, what do you mean, Tom? What is it? Well, would it shock you to hear that it's for sale by owner, fastest source of business opportunity? What is interesting to me, yes, I got you on that. What's interesting to me is as I talk to great agents from around the world, if you're talking to people in Europe, in many cases, 50% of the market is listed for sale by owner. If you were an agent watching this and you're not in Europe, could you imagine the opportunity of what we could do as RE/MAX professionals to show your obvious degrees of separation why they should list their home with you? Now, my first question for all of you watching is there a percentage of the market today that is listing their home for sale by owner? Is there a percentage? Now, my question for all of you is, if there is a percentage, if people have raised their hand and said, I want to sell, but I'm not sure if I know a right real estate professional, I'm not sure if hiring an agent today is the right move for me, do you believe that you're the right agent for the job? Do you believe it? I've seen a lot of heads nodding, and as you're watching this, I hope that right now you're thinking, wait a minute, yeah, of course I'm the right agent for the job. Are there obvious degrees of separation? Are there obvious things that you can do to help that person? Because let's be clear, today, getting listings, whether we're working our past clients in Sphere, the passive or aggressive expire campaigns, we're working our geographic farms, there's a lot of different ways we can do it, but there's only a few where people raised their hand and said, I want to sell. To me, when I see that for sale by owner sign, what I think is, if you peel it off, what it really says is, we're looking to interview great agents. And I don't know if you know this, if you've ever peeled off the for sale by owner sign, that's what it says underneath it. So here's what I wrote down for us today. I want to show you several strategies that every one of you can implement so you can get your piece of the for sale by owner market. So in your notes, let's write down the following. We've got 3 different things we want to do. Number 1, we want to learn what you need to know to win with today's for sale by owner. What do you need to know to win? Now watch this, my friends. If I can tell you that there is a number of conversations you can have with X number of for sale by owners, and after X number, you're going to take a listing. If you knew that that number was 15 or 18 or 25 or 30, and you really wanted to take more listings, how would it make you feel if you knew if I just have X number of conversations, someone's going to say, you're my guy, you're my gal? Well, what we call that is having a very predictable real estate business. And that's part of our goal today with for sale by owners. Number 2, I wrote down, we're going to use the sales power RE/MAX advantage to go after more for sale by owners. And number 3, we're going to understand the dialogues required to move a for sale by owner from a potential prospect to your next listing. So turn the page and let's take a look at understanding today's for sale by owner. So let's talk about what are the things we need to know to ultimately earn the trust and respect to cause these people to list with you. Well, if you look at number 1, it says, who are today's for sale by owner? I'd like you to fill in 4 or 5 things that we know about this prospect. Number 1, sometimes they're ex-real estate agents. Absolutely, yes. Would it shock you to hear that a percentage of the people that are going for sale by owner used to be in the business? So they have some knowledge and understanding of what it takes to negotiate and to market and to sell. In addition, I want you to write down what we refer to him as the Home Depot do-it-yourselfer. I can think of so many for sale by owners that myself and others have called on where you just find out that the person you're talking to doesn't want advice, doesn't need help, they're going to figure it out, and they're going to do it, most importantly, their way. And in many cases, that person sits on the market for a real long time, and if they're motivated, they could be a great source for you. The next one I want you to write down is they think that selling their home would be easy. Boy, I'll tell you, all we need to do is spend a little time educating them on the process, the contracts, the paperwork, everything that's required. And in many cases, that uninformed prospect now becomes a very informed next potential seller for you. The next one is it could be a financial situation. It might not make sense for them to sell when they recognize the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6% commission they're going to have to pay. Maybe they're a potential distressed seller situation, and the only way they can move that property in their minds is if they sell it on their own and save the commission. And of course, the last one is, would it shock you to hear that there are some people out there that had a bad experience with another real estate professional. And they thought to themselves, and it never shocks me to hear the number of people I talk to that say they got into real estate after buying a house from another agent, and they thought to themselves, if that guy or gal can do it, I can go into this and I can make a fortune because that person was a ding-dong. Well, there's a percentage of people that go for sale by owner simply because they had a bad experience, and it's our job to educate them on the power of RE/MAX and the power of you, what we can do to attract more qualified buyers and ultimately negotiate and sell the home. The second thing we wrote down, number 2, is what are they looking for in the agent that they choose? So in your notes, let's write down number 1, they want access to a buyer pool. The reason they would ultimately not go for sale by owner is they recognized that their marketing efforts only attracted what I refer to as lowball Larry, the people that are trying to steal the property. And what they recognize is they need more good agents and they need more potential buyers if they ultimately want to sell their home. The second one is they want to hire someone that has great local market knowledge. So fill in great local market knowledge. Now, you've heard me throughout Sales Power talk about how important it is to be the agent that knows all the market stats, everything about the trends, what's selling, are the condos hot right now, are single family hot right now, what's happening in the marketplace. And as you have that information, you could really be a resource to that for sale by owner to let them know what's the absorption rate or how often, properties like theirs are selling or why they're not selling. In addition, I wrote down the last one. They're looking for agents today that have the ability to negotiate. And really what that means is, as an example, Mr. and Mrs. for sale by owner, if I can show you how I could actually sell your property for more money, netting out my commission in addition, if I can do that, would that be of interest to you? If I can show you how I can sell your home and pay my fee and still get you what you want, would that be worthwhile for you? Well, of course, a for sale by owner that's in their right mind is going to say, well, of course I'm interested in that. How are you going to do it? And that comes down to your sales power, your ability to market and expose that property and then negotiate and sell and earn them what they want. So, number 3, this is where it gets fun. Throughout this course, we keep talking about the numbers and how do we make this program, your business, more predictable. Well, we have been helping people work on for sale by owners on this part of the market for decades. And here's what we know. Please write it down. For every 5 for sale by owners that you speak to, that you have a conversation with, and you're going to see we've got the dialogues in the workbook here for you to make it very easy. For every 5 you speak to, 1 or 2 will be interested in having you over. 1 to 2 will be interested in having you over in what we would call a preview appointment. Now, you're going to see the dialogues in a minute. It's very easy to get those preview appointments because they recognize whether you have a buyer or not, they know that we are the ones that control, in many cases, the major buyer pool. So 5 conversations, 1 to 2 people minimum let you come over. Then write down for every 15 for sale by owners that you preview and discuss the RE/MAX Sales Power Advantage, write this down, you should be listing 1 of them in the next 30 days. For every 15 that you connect with face-to-face. Remember when we talked about scheduling more appointments and we said we're always going to have a sheet in front of us that says, here are my hot buyer leads and here's my hot seller leads. Now I'm saying to you, why not have, here's the last 15 for sale by owners that I previewed. And as you'll see in our follow-up plan, once a week we're reaching out, usually on Mondays. Why on Mondays? They just did an open house over the weekend. Maybe lowball Larry showed up again, gave him a tentative offer that they didn't like, and their level of frustration after 1 week, 2 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks begins to really pressure them. And there you are, continually offering the right service, the right solutions, and methods for them to sell their home. Here's what's great about this program, my friends. Many people, when they think about for sale by owners, think that it's like this big fight, like, oh my goodness, I'm going to really struggle with this, and it's going to be hard. Listen. Remember, when we just put ourselves in their shoes, when we recognize that every person you deal with, every prospect you deal with is doing the best they can with what they know. So if they're a do-it-yourselfer, of course they're going to want to try it on their own. If they're an ex-realtor who had a bad experience, nobody wants to make the same mistake twice. So it's up to us to create the relationships, preview their properties, get a feel for it, maybe even begin the education process of what it takes to market and expose their house, showing them the RE/MAX Advantage, what you do. And you know what, my friends? Over a course of time, a percentage of them just say yes to you. I want you to turn to your buddy right now, look him right in the eye and say, you can do this.
You can do this.
I hope you're doing it right now inside your office. Don't make me come down there. You better be doing it. All right, now, in addition, In addition, here's what we know, the very last point there, it says, therefore, when you talk to 75 for sale by owners, you're really going to connect with 15. So you talk to 75, you connect with 15, just 20%, right? 20% equals 15 potential seller leads. Now, here's what's great. That means 15 people that, like we've discussed, you shook their hand, you saw their house, you made a connection, but the numbers, you talk to 5, and not everybody says, oh boy, come right over, I'd love to meet with you. No, some will say, you're a real estate agent, unless you have a buyer for my house, I don't want to talk to you. And you say, well, hey, can I come by? You can come by when it's, open on Sunday. You're going to get a few of those, but I got to tell you a story. I had a young guy working for me, not in the real estate business. He was a telemarketer for me, selling all of our products and services, and we were doing a seminar in Anaheim, California. And every day when I got off the 57 freeway, right at the end of the freeway, there was a house. And could you imagine what sign was in front of that house? Well, I had 500 people in this workshop for 4 days. And every day when I got off the freeway in the morning, I would see that for sale by owner. And every day I would chide the audience saying, wouldn't it be great if all 500 of us just left at 3 o'clock today and we all knocked on the door together and said, hi, all 500 at once? Well, of course, we were laughing and we were chiding about it. But you know what was interesting? Not one person saw the opportunity. Not one person thought to themselves, I can do this. Now, in fairness, we weren't teaching the for sale by owner strategy there, so it wasn't on the forefront of their minds. But you would have thought, if you're talking to that many good agents, at least one would have knocked on the door. Well, guess what? Bill, who worked for me at the time, went to the website, downloaded the for sale by owner dialogue that you have in your Sales Power workbook, walked up, knocked on the door, and read the script at the for sale by owner, and the guy scheduled an appointment with him on the spot. Now, here's what's great. Here's an unlicensed real estate professional who doesn't have the skill, the savvy, the experience that all of you have. But what he had was the courage to reach out to someone who's already said, I want to sell. So let's go back to our notes. 75 attempts, 75 conversations. Right? Of that group, 15 of them are going to say, come on over, let's have a conversation. I don't want to list my home yet, but if you want to preview the house, if you maybe have a buyer, I'm open to it. What do we say and what do we do when we get there to earn that piece of business? So before we jump into the real strategies and tactics, just like any other campaign, we need to make some strategic decisions. So on that next page, there's those 3 questions. Question number 1, what price point do you want to work? So for yourself, where is it going to be worthwhile for you financially? Is there a price point you don't want to go below in the for sale by owner market? So write down that sweet spot price point for you. Number 2, is there a geographic region you most want to go after? You've heard me mention, your geographic farm or the communities that you serve. There's nothing worse. I mean, could you imagine waking up on a Tuesday morning, walking outside of your house, seeing your next door neighbor's home listed for sale as a for sale by owner? How would that make you feel? Wouldn't you, of course, want to go after them? Well, I'm not telling you to go after every for sale by owner in the marketplace. I'm asking you to be strategic about the price range you want and the properties in the areas that are desirable for you, that you have a sweet spot in your mind that you say, if I list that property, I can hold it open and I can maximize the marketing exposure and ultimately I can sell that house. And then the third one, you always ask yourself, am I willing to call, mail, or door knock, or some combination of? So very quickly, just tell your buddy, are you willing to call him? Will you mail to them, or will you go knock on their door, or some combination? Take a second right now. Tell your buddy, what are you willing to do? Go ahead.
I would probably do it. I know. Call or door knock. I've done mailers.
I like it. So
Yeah, exactly.
Mailers never work.
So here's what's great. We've got, this combination of dialogue here inside the room, everything from I'll call to I'll knock on their door to my mailers aren't working. So, we need to look at what are the different approaches we can take, and here's what we know. Just like you said, I've tried mailers and maybe it didn't work. Well, we have other clients that have said mailers absolutely work. So just like anything else, it's the headline, it's the body of the content, and it's the CTA, your call to action, that's going to elicit a percentage of a response. But let's be clear, my friends, is there any mailer that's as strong as you? Nope. Is there any mailer that can read the physiology of a client and see their emotion and know, what's most important to them? You can't get that dialogue. That's why making the phone call, knocking on their door, or as some of my clients will tell you, just as you're driving around in between appointments, if you see one, you stop. If it's in your sweet spot, you knock, you leave a card, and you say, I'd love to preview the home to see if it matches the needs of any of the buyers I'm working with. There's no wrong way to do it. What's in your sweet spot? Now, I want you to answer the question, what activities, based on what we discussed so far, will you do? What activities? Will you call? Will you mail? Will you door knock? Or is it D, all of the above? Right? Make that decision, write it in your workbook, and make that a commitment. So now, in your workbook, let's talk about some of the marketing collateral and local statistics that will help you be of influence to work that for sale by owner, to give them what they want to ultimately choose you. You see right there inside your workbook, the first thing says, visit Main Street, search and download the RE/MAX versus the industry. Once again, we have the unfair advantage to show our strength in the local and global marketplace. And when you're talking to a do-it-yourselfer or someone that maybe was a former real estate professional, they know our company, they know who we are, but we want to show them the unfair advantage so they see if I'm going to list, I should probably list with people that sell more homes than everybody else. The next one, I want you to research the number of homes sold in that area. So if you're going after that for sale banner, you want to know how many homes are selling, what's the average time on the market, what could they expect if it was listed by a real estate professional, and if you can get the information, how long does the average for sale banner stay on the market? These kind of stats are going to make you even more the expert to really share and deliver the facts about selling their home today. Now, in addition, after your territory is selected, the geographic area you're willing to go after, let's write down, you want to research the listing absorption rate. So how many properties are coming on the market each month versus how many are selling versus the number that are currently on the market. You know, does the average property sell in 120 days, 180 days, or in 30 days? These numbers are important, especially, let's say, for example, it's 30 days or less. Well, if that's the case in the marketplace and they're a for sale by owner that's been sitting on the market for 45 days, you can clearly go back to them and say, Houston, we have a problem. The average time on the market is 30 days and you've been on the market for 6 weeks. What that tells us is you're not attracting the number of eyeballs you need to your property to ultimately get it sold. Let me show you how we do that. In addition, in your notes, write down the following. You want to know, of course, the average sales price of the territory. The next one, write down, you want to prepare if you've helped a for sale by owner in the past, go from for sale by owner to your great client, a testimonial or review from those prospects, you know, putting them in the same shoes. Like, here's a person who was just like you. They were trying to sell on their own. I helped them, and now they're sold. A testimonial like that is going to make that for sale by owner feel easier about the decision, knowing that a percentage of the people end up doing just that. Now, the next one, write down, if you can determine how many for sale by owners sell on an annual basis, if you know that number, most people will tell you when you look at, like, for example, the National Association of Realtors, they'll publish once a year the percentage of the market that sell via for sale by owner. Normally it's between 7 to 10% dependent upon the market. Remember, that's a national number. If you know your local number, you can say to them, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, 7 to 10% of the homes sell nationally with someone like yourself selling on their own. My question for you is, do you think it's a better strategic move for you to try and sell on your own, or be one of the 93% that hire a real estate professional like myself with RE/MAX that can expose your property to an enormous number of buyers? Which do you think is ultimately going to get you a better shot of selling your home at the highest possible price? These kinds of dialogues at the end of the day is what's going to hook that for sale by owner to list with you. The last thing I wrote down is you're going to want to put together at least a 6-part follow-up in terms of mailing or emailing to the for sale by owners after your initial appointment. So now let's take some time and let's go through the tactical approach of winning these for sale by owners. Now, I know there's a good chance that someone is watching this right now thinking, Tom, I mean, I appreciate that your buddy Bill went and knocked on a door and, you know, literally scheduled a listing appointment and he's not even a licensed agent. I don't know if I want to work for sale by owners. And I appreciate that. And let me ask you this. Do you like to help people? Do you all like to help people? I mean, generally speaking, there's a compassion, I believe, that's involved in this business where our desire is to give back, is to help people. I mean, we wouldn't go through the stress and anxiety of this business if somewhere in our heart of hearts there wasn't this piece that says, I want to give back, I want to contribute. Well, I want you to consider that all I'm looking for is let's add 6, 8, 12 new listings into your business. And for sale by owners can do just that. There's a percentage of the market where they desperately need your help. Now, if you're watching this right now and there's a couple people inside the room going, oh, we don't want to work these, let me tell you what my personal belief is. When everybody else says they don't want to do it, I jump in. I call it the 180-degree theory. If the masses are going this way, generally speaking, the masses aren't producing a lot. I go the opposite direction and end up crushing it. So decide right now, do you want 6 listings, 8 listings, 12 listings, or do you want to be some of my clients that end up, listing 15, 18, 20 for sale by owners in a year? Let's talk about the plan, because every one of you can do this. So let's go right to it. The first one, it says, number 1, you need to pull up the daily for sale by owners and reach out and make that call. Now remember, only call the ones that are in your strategic plan. And as we've discussed with other lead generation strategies, there are online solutions that you can sign up for that every day will give you the new for sale by owners. They'll download them, phone numbers, you can market to them, etc. So those are available. The worst case scenario is you're opening up the newspaper or you're going to fizbo.com as an example. But at the end of the day, you've got to get a way to get the numbers to make this process easy for you. Number 2, write down, we're going to call the new for sale by owners twice a day for the first week until you schedule an appointment. Just like we learned in the expired campaign, you're not going to go after every for sale by owner in the marketplace. You're looking for the 2, 3, 4, 5 that are right for you in the territory you want to go after and in the price range you desire. So if you have 2 or 3, 4 or 5 a day, 25 for the week, for you to call 25 in a week 2 times, maybe once in the morning, once late in the afternoon, you're going to get your piece of the pie. You're going to get your percentage of the business. Number 3, your primary goal is to schedule a listing appointment. Your primary goal is to schedule an appointment. And as you'll see with the for sale by owner dialogues, by asking the right questions, a percentage of the people will say yes. A percentage of the people will be ready. They've been on the market for a while. They've gone, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 9 weeks, and they've been beaten down by the market. And now they recognize the need for a real estate professional. And sometimes, my friends, you just get lucky. You just get lucky. Our backup, though, our secondary goal, write this down, your secondary goal is to schedule a preview appointment. A preview appointment where you have the opportunity now to go meet them face to face, to see their home, to build rapport, to create that relationship, to shake their hand, and not just go into sales mode, but instead go into consultant mode. What are you looking for? Would you like some tips and ideas about perhaps how to change your home to really have the eyeballs of the buyers fall in love with it? Let me make some recommendations. Anytime that you can go in and make those little tips and offers of advice, you're going to create a separation and become more memorable than any other agent in town. So there's 4 things we need to do when we're making those phone calls. Number 1, the first thing always is we want to establish rapport. We want to build rapport because no sale occurs without it, which means, as we've discussed throughout this program, we're going to sound like they sound. We're going to pace like they pace. If their volume is really high, I'm going to have high volume. If they answer the phone in a whisper, I'm not going to go, hey, it's Tom with Remax, because you're going to be out of rapport. The next thing, number 2, you're going to ask the questions and decide, is this someone I want to work with? Now, isn't that a different twist? Most people would say, I'm calling to see if I can sell them. Instead, I'm asking you to consider, as you're asking the questions, you're actually pre-qualifying the prospect to see, is this someone I want to give my time, my energy, and my resource to? And of course, you'll discover when we go through the dialogues, all that means is you're finding out what's their real motivation, what's their real timing, do they have a plan B? If they don't absolutely have to sell, do we want to go after them? The answer is no. If you believe in your heart of hearts that you can help them, that's the kind of person you're going to want to follow up with great discipline and integrity. Look at number 3 on our list. Obviously, we want to schedule a listing appointment. That's why we're calling. And once again, the backup is to schedule a preview appointment. Now, if you look at the next page, we have there, it says, pay attention and listen carefully. Listen carefully to the following. Number 1, what they're really telling you. When you ask questions like, so tell me, why did you decide to sell on your own? And they share why they decided to do that. Oftentimes there's what the client says and there's what they really mean. So they might say to you, well, we just felt we could sell it on our own because it was just right. And, based upon the dollar amount, dollar amount, this means they could be in a little bit of hardship. So maybe they need to save the commission. Or they say, well, the market's just so great right now for us. We know in our town, I've met with 5 other agents. They've all told me that my home is amazing. They think it's going to be easy. So you're listening for where are they coming from? What's their point of view? And then ultimately, how will we take that to influence the situation and win? Number 2, I wrote down, you've got to discover what their timeline is. You've got to discover what their timeline is. And always remember, cut it by 2/3. So if they say 90 days, the odds are on the 30th day, you're going to drive by and you're going to see somebody else has listed that property unless you're doing your follow-up. Now, the last one I want you to write down is when you're calling, when you're asking these questions, you're qualifying for what their real motivation is. Why are they selling this property? What is their desire? Do they have a new grandchild being born someplace? Can they no longer afford this house? Are they downsizing? Are they upsizing? Did they get a job transfer? All these things have to be figured out so you can customize your presentation to speak directly to their needs. Now, if you see there in your notes, it says, let's review the for sale by owner dialogue to schedule an appointment. So go back a few pages and you'll see we've got a great script for you called the for sale by owner dialogue for scheduling an appointment. What I'd like you to do right now is go ahead and pause the training and let's learn this script, which means we're going to read it out loud as fast as we can. We're going to role play once with a buddy where we're just asking the questions. Remember, no objections. And then if you have time, I'd love for you to do some objections. I'd love for you to say, well, we know all you agents are all the same, right? All the things that for sale by owners might say, and let's see how well you do. So we're going to read it out loud, get the words out of the way, practice once with a buddy where they say, yes, come over. We want to sell our home, so you can get comfortable with the words, and then do a third role play where you incorporate some objection handling. Go and take about 10 minutes and do it right now. All right, so welcome back. I hope you had a good role play, and I'm sure at this point in Sales Power, it's getting easier and easier for you to role play the dialogues, to get comfortable with the words, and maybe to be a little more aggressive and start closing early and often. If that's the case, good for you. If you still feel like you're struggling with it, listen. It took me decades to practice, rehearse, and memorize all these different dialogues. And even today, I'm still practicing with all of my clients every single day to help them improve their confidence. So make no bones about it. You're doing the right thing. Just keep practicing. Keep practicing. Now, let's talk about the preview appointment, which is that plan B. If they don't say, hey, absolutely, come over and let's talk about listing my house, you say, well, then would it be okay, as you'll see in the little dialogue, would it be okay if I just come by, spend 15 or 20 minutes, get a feel for the home, show me the property, and let me see if it matches the needs of any of my buyers? There's no for sale by owner in their right mind that's going to say no to that request. So let's talk about, in your notes, the goals for the preview appointment. Number 1, always, is to walk the property and build rapport. To walk the property and build rapport, to get connected with them. Connect with them, build rapport, walk the property, right? Get to know, right under preview appointment plan, right? What do we want to do? Connect with them and build rapport. The next thing is, because we're now face-to-face, we want to determine their real motivation. So in your notes, fill in determine their real motivation. And we all know the difference between talking to somebody over the phone where we only have one of 5 senses. I can't see you, I can't touch you, I can't watch your physiology, but when I got you face to face, I'm going to see the subtle little things that let me know how motivated you are or not. The next one is, I want you to explain, while you're there, I want you to explain that there is a clear RE/MAX advantage to listing with you. That there's a clear RE/MAX advantage to listing with you. Now you'll see in the preview questions while we're walking around the house, one of the questions is, so tell me about the marketing you're doing on your property and how's that working for you? Tell me about the marketing you're doing and how's that working for you? Well, when you ask that question, the for sale banner, of course, is going to be dramatically limited compared to what all of us can do. So they're going to say, well, I'm running some ads and I made a flyer and I do some open houses and I put it on a couple of the online websites. And of course, we all know that the only people that go to those online websites are agents looking for leads. So, we then say to them, well, here's the 19 things that I do for my customers to get them maximum exposure to the right agents that control the buyers, and of course, the buyers that are in the market ready to buy a home. Let me ask you a question. You're doing 3 or 4, we're doing 19. Which do you think is going to give you a better shot and opportunity to find that perfect buyer that'd be willing to pay close to your price? Well, again, anybody in their right mind is going to know that there's a clear RE/MAX advantage. In addition, let's write down the last one. While you're there with them face-to-face, you want to ask that great question, what's your plan B? So fill in plan B if it doesn't sell. And behind that, I want you to write down, when will you consider hiring an agent? When will you consider hiring an agent? So what's your plan B if the property doesn't sell? And when will you consider hiring a real estate professional? Well, the moment you ask that question, they've now said to you, well, we're going to wait 90 days. And what do we know about that? 90 days is 30 days. Well, what if they say to you, we've got a lot of time. We're going to do it for about the next 6 months to 9 months. Could there be a motivation problem? What do you guys think? Okay, absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. So very, very simple. The primary focus while we're doing these preview appointments, connect with them, build rapport, take a look at the property, and give them tips and ideas about what they can do to improve the quality of the home, and then talk to them about how they're marketing the property. And we all know they only have 3 or 4 ways, and we have 19, 20, sometimes as many as 30 different things that we can do to expose their property. So you need to show up prepared and ready to present your marketing plan. Now, what do you bring? Right there in your notes. Market stats and the comps. Market stats and the comps, always, because you always have to show I'm the local expert, I know the market better than anybody else. You always want to bring your video camera, or maybe your iPhone if you're using that. You always want to bring it because I think it's an excellent idea to stand in front of the house before the preview appointment and do a little video about this property coming on the market soon into the MLS, showing them here's another way that I attract more buyers than anyone else. Right? Those little degrees of separation. Remember, just like the expired listings, they're looking for something different, and these kind of strategies clearly make you stand out. Look at the next one. Bring your iPad, bring your laptop. Be prepared to be able to search and be on the MLS and look at different websites. And the last one is bring your marketing plan. Always bring your marketing plan. Always bring your marketing plan. And do I have to tell you all that you should have a listing contract with you? Or should that be the no-brainer? Let's just assume, in case you didn't write it down, have a listing contract with you, because guess what? Sometimes you just get lucky. Most of the time, you're going to have that preview appointment, and then you're going to do your follow-up, and you're going to continue to establish a relationship. You're going to call them on Mondays, and they're going to say, I had another frustrating weekend. Lowball Larry showed up again. And that's, again, when you say, so would you be willing to consider putting the home on the market with me and allowing me to do these 19 different marketing plans to ultimately find you the right buyer? I mean, at what point are you going to allow me to remove the stress and tension of attempting to sell on your own and hire a pro? Soft, easy closes that we just keep dripping on these prospects until they say yes. Now, let me ask you all a question. And maybe it's just in my head, because I think for sale by owners are just a no-brainer. Whether I'm in the European market or I'm in, the New York City market, where there's so many of them that the great agents have figured out, hey, I'll take 7 weeks after an appointment and follow up with those sellers. Let me ask you this. If you met a past client or sphere who said, we're thinking about selling, would you come by and take a look at my home? Would you follow up with them every week until they listed the home with you? So couldn't it just be exactly the same? It's just another seller, another potential opportunity that you're willing to put on your list and make sure that once a week you're engaging, connecting, and following up. Now, in your notes, turn to the next page. Remember, we showed you the follow-up campaign. You've got it right there inside your notes. Here's some out-of-the-box ideas I just want you to consider. They're right there inside your book. How about friending them on Facebook? I mean, hello, send them a friend request on Facebook, make that relationship a little more online social. Next thing, like we've discussed, create a video and deliver a copy to their doorstep or email them the link. Do a video and let them know, I have, 19,000 real estate professionals in the marketplace where I have access to their email. And the moment you decide to list your home with me, I'm going to shoot them this video and we're going to ramp up our marketing to let the world know you're on the market. And again, you've heard me reference videos so many times. Why? It's so powerful. It's so powerful to go beyond just a mailer, just a marketing brochure, and take it into the 2000s. Today, with the power of YouTube, it's a no-brainer. Turn to your buddy and say, I love doing videos.
I love doing videos.
Good job. And I hope you're saying the same thing right now. And then, of course, the next one, send them a private Facebook video. I love this. You all do this, yes? Right? You go on Facebook, you want to send them a message, but instead, there's 2 little options on Facebook. One says send a text message, like a written word message, and the other one says send a video. So why not send them a little video message saying, hey, it's Tom Ferry. And by the way, what's always behind us? The RE/MAX balloon. So I don't have to say, hey, it's Tom with RE/MAX. They know, the most recognizable brand in real estate. Hey, it's Tom, and I just wanted to reach out to you. I know that you've been on the market now for close to 3 weeks, and as we've discussed, you've had a couple offers that, made you a little upset. I just want to remind you that I'll be applying these kinds of strategies, videos, and so many different things to market and expose your property to the highest number of qualified buyers and the agents that control those buyers. So listen, I'm patient. When you're ready, I'm here for you. Give me a call, 555-1212, or shoot me another email, and I'll be following up on Monday, maybe with a video, maybe a phone call, or maybe an email. Take care. Hope you're doing great. Boom. That's a little bit different, right or wrong, guys? I can think of clients that I wanted to go after that by sending them a video Facebook message, just like I would send a private message to them, sending a video literally caused them to say, nobody's doing this. That's different. That's unique. And that's what we're looking for. Ways to be out of the box and stand out. Now, let's talk about our action steps. In our notes, right? We've got a whole bunch of things we want to do. So look at that next page. We want to decide which approach we're going to go after. Which approach? Are you going to call, which is certainly what I recommend? Are you going to knock on their door using the same exact dialogue like my buddy Bill I was telling you about? Or are you going to do the mail call combination? The next one is, I can't stress enough to you. Listen, as you're watching this video, I want you to be really clear, everybody. The for sale by owner really is the ultimate way to improve the quality of your sales skills. If you can convince somebody who was dead set on selling on their own to ultimately list with you, how much more effective would you be on any other listing presentation you went on? Do you guys get that? So I almost say to people like a new agent will come to me and say, Tom, I'll do whatever it takes. What do you recommend? And here's what I'll say. I want you to call 25 for sale by owners a day. Matter of fact, I got to tell you a story. I have this wonderful client, Gloria. Gloria's down in Knoxville, Tennessee. Have you ever saw the movie The Coal Miner's Daughter? That was Gloria. She said by the time she was 18, she had never been on a paved road. She lived out in the boonies, and her family was a part of the coal mining industry. Well, that industry went away for her and her family moved to that big old town of Knoxville. And she said, about 2 years into it, I'm 20 years old, and I'm sitting there at a bar, right? Typical, fun thing to do at, I guess, 20 years old, illegal, right? And she said, I'm sitting at this bar, and I'm talking to the gentleman behind the bar, and he says, you got a great personality. You ought to think about real estate. She's 20 years old, kind of bright and bubbly and, kind of enthusiastic in her ways. And she says, well, do you have any companies you'd recommend? And guess what? The guy that owned the bar owned an office. He was a broker. He had the office over here and the bar over here, right? So that was kind of fun for him, dual income. So she says, well, okay, I'm interested. And she gets her license, and that takes her, a couple months to do. And she said, the day I joined the office, I walk in. Now, this was quite some time ago, my friends. This was nearly, 25 years ago when she got in the business. She said, I walked in the office, and back then it was just all these guys. She goes, I thought it was like, good old boy realty, right? Nothing but guys, all 55 years old or older. And she goes, and here's cute little Gloria. She comes walking in, and guess what? They're all sitting around reading the newspaper. And she says to me, you know what I thought, Tom? It must be newspaper reading hour. She goes, I don't know what they were doing. I'd never been in real estate sales before. So I walk in, they're all reading the paper. So, of course, typical training 25 years ago. Here's your desk, here's your phone. Good luck, girl, you're on your own, right? She gets her desk, she goes and sits down, and she grabs the only piece of newspaper left. Guess what it was? The classified ads. She opens it up, she looks at it, and it's just, for sale, banner, for sale, and one after another. And she whispers to the guy to her left, hi, what are these? And the guy kind of, looks at the new person, right? Typical old timer agent, what's the new kid doing? He goes, them are for sale by owners. And she goes, okay, what are those? He goes, oh, them are people trying to sell on their own. And she goes, well, why? Why are they doing that? And he goes, got the newspaper up like this. He looks at it and goes, because you haven't called them yet. She goes, okay, what should I say? He goes, I want you just to call every one of them and say, hey, this is Gloria. How can I help you? I want to sell your home. And of course, he's giggling. She gets on the phone and starts calling for sale by owners. Her first year in the business, she sold 37 homes. 37 homes. That's pretty good for a brand new agent at 20, 21 years old. What do you guys think? Here's what she discovered. Those people had already raised their hand and said, we want to move. We just haven't met the right agent yet. And Gloria, because of her pleasing personality and her desire to contribute and help, became the obvious choice for these clients. Now, she didn't call them once and they said, oh gosh, Gloria, come on over and sell my home. No, she had in the early days bring in her broker to have some expertise and some market knowledge, because she said, I didn't have any of that stuff. She says, but guess what happens? You go on 15 or 16 listing presentations with what would be considered for some people a tougher client, and guess what? You get real good real fast. Well, watch this, my friends. Today, Gloria sells anywhere between 100 to 125 homes a year. She's a dominant agent. She still has about a third of her business coming from for sale by owners. Why? She goes, because I got a soft spot for them. These are people that just haven't met me yet. And once they meet me, they're ready. Is that a better mindset than maybe some people have when it comes to for sale by owners? She's just got a big heart, wants to make a difference. And she says, to this day, I look back at that time in my career and I thank God that that guy said to me, you know, them are for sale by owners and they're waiting for you to call. She goes, had that guy not done it, I probably would have never called those people, and who knows where I'd be in my career today. So as you think about working for sale by owners, it's about learning the dialogues, it's about taking that marketing plan to do the follow-up, and then please write this down in your action plan. You have got to commit to call them every Monday. Every Monday. You've heard me say it over and over again, but I haven't asked you to write it down yet. In your action steps, you have to put into your daily and weekly action checklist a block of time now where you're calling for sale by owners to follow up. We all know why on Mondays. They just did an open house, and now it's time for you to find out how did it go. So back on our list, make sure you download the RE/MAX versus the industry report. You see it inside there. I want you to write out a simple plan for how you can list 6, 9, 12, 18 for sale by owners a year. The numbers don't lie. Talk to 75. 15 will say, come on over. And out of that, you're going to get one every single time. Now, I bet there's a few competitive people watching this that are thinking, I think I can get even more. And all I would say to you is, go for it. Go for it. See if you can break the numbers and be even better. You know what? The marketplace needs another Gloria who just gets it in her heart that these people need service and they want you. In addition, on your list, listen to the warm-up CD. Keep role-playing. Use the numbers tracker, right? Every single day, keep tracking your numbers, keep tracking your performance. I mean, we're many weeks in now. You should be looking back now and saying, hey, wait a minute, Tom said 129 or 80. I'm sitting around 65, 70 new conversations to a sale. Boy, I got to tell you, that's going to create a lot of certainty for you. So keep up the good work. So all I want to say to you as I wrap up, as always, for sale by owners are a wonderful opportunity. There's a percentage in the market that are waiting for you. Get out there and go talk to them. Remember always, your strategy matters, and now more than ever, your passion rules. I'll see you soon.